Hey, you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forged Alliance Forever. Today, I have a 3v3 ladder match here on the most amazing Neuroxys map generator. Let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1, also known as the Red Team in the north, ending with Team 2, also known as the Blue Team in the south. Starting off with the southernmost player on Team 1, it is the 1310 rated player of Siwana Daphne Wen. Yeah, I think I said that right. Going first land as a Cybran. And again, they are in Chevy Crimson. To the northeast in orange, color orange, we have Godzilla Potato. Almost said Godzilla a Potato, but it's Godzilla Potato. Going first land as a UEF. They are a little bit over the hump to 1500. But still, again, in that middle between 14 and 15. And last but not least, for Team 1 in Ruby Red, we have Nasimka going first land as a Seraphim. He is a little bit over a 1700 rating. He is the highest rated player on Team 1 and in the game overall. So definitely going to see some big plays coming out of him. So Team 1's faction makeup, we have a Cybran, a UEF, and a Seraphim. No Aeon here for Team 1. In the south, starting off with the northernmost player on Team 1, it is Tuesday, just like Tuesday, mixing it with Chewbacca. It's like Tuesday. Going first land as an Aeon. They are in, again, Royal Blue, and they are a little bit in towards that hump of between 1300 and 1400 rating. In Amethyst Purple, in the rear, we have Bloodam going first land, second air as a Seraphim. And they are, again, a little bit over a 1500 rating. And again, they are going in Amethyst Purple. And last but not least, for Team 2, we have the Stitch Blue player of Warning Potato PC. Lots of potatoes this game. We have one on each of the teams. He's going first land as a Seraphim in Stitch Blue. And he is a little bit over the hump between a 16 and 1700 rating here. He is the highest rated player on Team 2. Second highest in the game behind Nasimka. So for Team 2's racial makeup, they have 2 Seraphim and 1 Aeon, no UEF, and no Cybrans here for Team 2. We'll see how they deal with those teleporting Cybrans in the north. Let's take a look at Reclaim. Still currently on the map. Only about 3,000 between 6 players. There's only 500 mass, a little bit over that per player. Not a lot of mass to play with here, so a lot more focus on those mass point claiming and collections and building up of infrastructure and the like. We'll take the map diagonally away from the northwest to the southeast and look at essentially Team 2, which will be the same lineup here for Team 1. We have a Quad Mechs position pretty close to the front line here. We also have a Quinta Mechs position, 5-star Mechs position here to the west, and another 5-star and another 5-star Mechs. So lots of, juicy amounts of consolidated mass points here for both teams. We do see a couple of one-offs kind of dotted around, but nothing really super going to be fought over. Maybe we'll see these two fought over, and maybe we'll see these two fought over. But essentially what's going to happen is players are just going to try to defend as much as they can those big, giant, core quad mechs and 5-star mechs and all of that such a thing. There is a way through the middle of the map. Of course, it is a tight avenue to walk through. Of course, T1 units don't really have a huge issue with that. But once we get into the bigger T3 and, of course, the T4 stages of the game, that traversal through the middle would be very, very difficult. I would like to see somebody put maybe a radar kind of nestled in there, kind of get a nice readout on the entire map. And that's a little bit about the strategy of using that center to your advantage. We are seeing a lot of T1 spam. Of course, it is 4 minutes in this game out from Tuesday to intercept the units coming out here for Tiwanoa. I might call them Daphne for short because I see Daphne in the name. So if you're wondering who I'm talking about, it is the Chevy Crimson player, or I could just say the Cybran player. But I think I'll stick with Daphne just to give a name to a face. We are seeing T1 Bomber here in the west here by Nasimka trying to go after some engineers. He will be able to claim this one, going for a T1 factory. Unfortunately, interceptors intercept that bomber, and I can already hear the doo-doo going on in the background. takes that out pretty quickly, so not a lot of early raiding. We are seeing counter raiding going on by Team 2's Warning Potato PC, and we'll go after the radar. Very good grab here, trying to blind their opponent. Unfortunately, the interceptors already intercepted that bomber, and again, I made that joke twice within a minute. That must be a new record or something, and we'll shoot that down. But again, denying opponent radar and intelligence is definitely a good thing. You would love to take out engineers and, you know, T1 mechs and that sort of thing, but unfortunately here for Team 2, that radar was immediately rebuilt by Daphne, so it didn't really get a whole lot of work done. We're seeing a couple of flares go after a Mantis. Mantis will win that fight if the Mantis can stay a little bit out of range and out of danger. You can see it already dropped into the yellow, but one of those flares already dead, and that Mantis will stay at range and kill off that flare very, very easily. We see some movements here in the north in the south to the north by Team 2. One calm of Bladam followed by the forces from Warning Potato PC. I call him Potato PC for short, and then do Godzilla Potato, which is, so is it like a potato the size of Godzilla, or is Godzilla the size of a potato? And if so, which one is scarier? Like, well, I was just, one is a potato, one is not a potato, but I could not imagine Godzilla, as powerful as he is, the size of a potato. Like, you can fit in the palm of your hand. That would a little scary, but that's if he still has the same amount of power. If he's that small and has that amount of power, man, it's like a Pokemon power, if not more than that, in just the palm of your hand. That'd be crazy. I was talking about Pokemon size, the Godzilla. In the west, we have Nasimka's forces beating back the forces from Bladam. Bladam, again, focusing on that western edge, but as Calm's on the east, he's trying to divert some of his attention back and forth. That will hurt him as time goes on, just because his APM will be taxed, but trying to at least assist with the push eastward. We do see Daphne on the front lines, forces behind them, trying to force back the Seraphim units coming out from Potato. Of course, Potato has essentially claimed the entire southeastern section for himself, and Nasimka has done the same, except he hasn't gone after the mexes like Warning Potato PC has. But it does look like, again, similar strategies between both teams, trying to grab the other side of the middle's quad mechs position. Of course, Daphne wants that position, but there's really not a lot of, forward momentum against Nasimka here in the west. We have Tuesday kind of being a little bit, I wouldn't say slow, but a little more cautious with attacking. Of course, there is now a 2v1 scenario in terms of comms in the east. We do see Godzilla Potato. They could easily come and render aid. Would take him a minute or so to get over there. But he is building a nice force. Maybe we'll see a run-by chance here. But the unfortunate thing is, because of how long that edge is and how long it would take to get westward, those units would be intercepted pretty quickly. We are seeing the first upgrades here of the game. Godzilla getting his damage and gun because he is a UEF. And the speed and range here for the Potato PC because he is a Seraphim. I'm kind of surprised to not see if Daphne go for their own upgrade, getting a T1 Mechs. Maybe we'll see him go for that after this. He does have a considerable amount of Team 1 forces that could easily protect him, far outnumbering those of Team 2. So we'll see if they decide to go for that upgrade or not. I would personally probably go for it. Maybe just hide in these little hills over here and do it so he has a way of, essentially bottlenecking incoming units and comms. But that is just me. We do see, again, that run by possible trying to happen here for Bladam, trying to hide behind those mountains or those hills, or I don't know what to call, like one-off mountains that are just kind of put everywhere. So don't really know what they're called. I'll call them mounts or mountains or hills. I think I'll call them hills if they're just kind of ones and twos. We are seeing some forward momentum, start some nice little kind of raiding or, again, forward momentum here for Tuesday in the west. We are seeing counter units coming out for his base, but he's gone for the upgrades, going for speed first, then range. I prefer the range first, then speed, give you a nice little, step a little bit further away from your opponent. And while that gun upgrade was being completed, Daphne takes it offline, cancels it, and will retreat, fearing the two comms pushing northward. One of them does have a gun, the other one does not. I felt like there were enough forces to really hold off this push, but it doesn't look like Daphne felt the same kind of confidence. We do see Godzilla Potato moving his forces to the east and units from Potato moving in to intercept. We can see this is what Potato can see. He does have some radar signatures to detect where they are. And unfortunately here for Godzilla Potato, the other Potato has intercepted his move and decided to say no. In the northwest, we do have a nice little northwest corner push. They're going to go straight east after that. They have been spotted by Nasimka. At least he has a nice little air scout kind of patrolling the route. Once he'll turn, yep, he can see them right there. If he's paying attention, which he most likely is, he'll be able to deal with those pretty quickly. And I don't see, yep, they're going to move those units behind the PD to protect, and those units are moving eastward. So again, a lot of try to just outsmarting your opponent. Not really working out for either team. We do see advanced range going on the way here for Tuesday after the speed, and one range has been completed. And those forces that were protecting the comm of Daphne are pushing southward. There are a couple of T1 PD just chewing up those units, while two comms on the front lines are doing the exact same thing. We have Godzilla to the northeast, and of course we have Daphne on that gun upgrade, I would assume, because it's not telling me what it is currently. Yep, it was the gun. Kind of figured that at some point. And it does look like a similar counter push was trying to happen for Potato, but units intercepted that pretty quickly. It's essentially just a back and forth pod shots shooting at one another. Stealth going on the way here for Daphne as well, because it's very common for a Cyber commander, especially on the front lines, to go for stealth in the nano. We are seeing the emergence of T2 units, this time coming out here from Godzilla. We have a shield protecting the comm, as well as some pillars. They're going to try to push Potato and Bloodam out of the area. We are seeing some units move up through the middle here for Team 2, but they are going to be sorely intercepted and thrown backwards. They kind of, again, even just a couple of T1 units, it does kind of, force them into a nice little bottleneck, depending if you're the receiver or the giver in that regard. We do see a nice little Magno T1 radar online here. Would have liked to see that a little bit closer. But again, in the middle is better than nothing, as I always say, because anything is better than nothing. Well, no. Pretty much anything is better than nothing, especially in this game. Bloodam going for his gun upgrade and will soon intercept the comm of Godzilla. Godzilla facing off against the Potato versus the Potato. One has a Potato PC, one has Godzilla the size of a potato, or a potato-sized Godzilla. One or the other. Game pauses, glitches out 40 seconds because of that pause and resume. We don't have to wait for any pausing. We have two T2 triads build not instantaneously, but one after the other, but wasn't really dealing with that build order, because they just built essentially 2 1-second triads. We do see the comm of Potato, Godzilla Potato. I keep saying Potato first. Godzilla pushing against Bloodam. He's being chewed up by those units from Team 1 and being body blocked as well by Mantis, and he will go down here in this game. Potato BC is dropping back as well. Same with Godzilla. And unfortunately here for Team 2, they have lost one of their players. It is now a 3v2 in favor of Team 1. Everything should be transferred over to Potato. I feel like some of these, at least this western half at the minimum, should be transferred over to Tuesday to help micro that a lot better. Of course, those units were paused, or have paused moving, because they are transferring orders to somebody else. We are seeing Team 1 taking the opportunity to try to vacate, warning Potato PC from his frontline position. Is going to lose a couple of those mechs, might hold on to the facility, but I don't think he will. A lot of those defending units for Godzilla Potato were taken out in that explosion. There are a couple of pillars that are constantly being thrown to the front line to help defend a huge force coming into the east that needs to be intercepted immediately, or it's going to start overrunning this position. We can see there is a attack move order for some engineers going for some reclaim. But Potato PC is in the yellow, sub half of his hit points. We do see Daphne on his tail trying to catch up. Mantis will block him up just for a little bit, allowing for that comm of Daphne to come in and intercept. And at this point, it might just be a walk down. We have a couple of THAMs here for Potato PC, but it's not going to be enough to help deal with this push. Bro, you got lucky. ACU didn't move. There's one in Potato. There is a T1 transport nearby and will not be able to pick up the comm. Needs to be a T2 transport, and that comm of warning Potato PC will try to hide behind some mountains. And Mantis come in. The comm is going to lose his attack angle on that commander. And veterancy for Warning Potato PC will give some nice hit points to Potato to get out of dodge. We have some interceptors intercepting one another. That's the third time I made that joke this game. Trying to cover the skies for either of these players. We see Potato now moving northward and then going to move westward while the forces here for Tuesday come in and intercept lots of forces also for Potato. There is another T2. There is now a T2 transport nearby. We also have Team 1 interceptors nearby as well for Team 1. Potato wants to get on that transport. He is back in the yellow. We have Daphne pushing forward, trying to get to that comm, but I feel like the comm might be out of range. We have T2 pillars nearby as well. Drops Potato into the red once again. He needs to keep moving west and get out of range. We have T1 spam trying to push back the comm, force him to retreat, and allow the retreat of Potato PC to happen. But I feel like at this point, he has had enough distance. He got below 1,500 hit points. He was very, very like Warning Potato PC's like, what the heck happened? Another one of those instances where using your environment definitely comes in handy. And we will watch as Potato jumps up into his transport as he completely walks by it. There he goes. Has to be sucked up into it and says, I am out of here. I blocked him too. Says choose data allies. So yeah, it was definitely a combined effort to vacate that comm. Don't want that transport. That transport needs to move. If Team 1 knows about it and they have air units in the area, they don't know about it, so he's fine. There he goes. He's been given the orders to retreat. I would have immediately vacated, not given a second thought to that. We see while we've been talking about the east, Nasimka has been able to push back his opponent in the west. A line, and I'm talking about a line of T2 mobile missile launchers. These Eversongs are just pummeling this position here for Nasimka, and he will be forced to retreat underneath that amount of firepower. He has an Ilshi going to be able to charge through and dealing with some of those Ascendants, and some Interceptor just flew over, because he died, and completely just met some flak, and like I said, died. Stop with the visual glitch. I'm sick and tired of this. No. I mean, it's just a Rhino, which isn't that bad, but when I look at a comm, I can't see a lot of stats. Granted, it's not in front of the percentage stats, which sometimes I like to see. Well, actually, I do like to see. But at least it's just covering the amount of eco they're producing, whether that be negative or positive. T3 Titans online here for Godzilla Potato here at 17 minutes in this game. I'm assuming Team 1 does not have T3 Air. Very surprising here that no one on Team 1 has gone T3 Air. In the rear, we have T3 Air online here for, essentially, it's Potato PC. It was for Badam. And he's going to go for Bomber, and that's going to be a huge advantage here to Team 2. Do they already have one online? I don't see one. Right now, they are dealing with a push straight down the middle here by Daphne with those Rhinos and other units. And they were killed off very, very quickly by the Ilshi, the far superior unit to, well, actually pretty much most of the T2 units here in the lineups for every faction. Of course, they can be countered by Titans, but again, anything can counter anything if there's thousands of that first thing. T3 Bomber over the top. I missed it. It was already online. I must have just missed that giant triangle. It is going to be inbound for probably T2 Mechs and Pigeons would be my first targets. We are seeing some T3 Myrmidons being built, and that bomber is going to be released going after a T2 Mechs. Would have even been funnier to see him kill off that engineer. But he's going to go straight in the rear, drop the next bomb here, kills 2 T2 Mechs as well, so that's 3 so far. We see some ASF flying over. Team 1 is vastly unprepared for this threat. We see him trying to get another set of T2 Mechs. These ones are... Oh, nope, the bomb wasn't ready, it looks like. He's going to keep going forward to the west. Good tactic on him for not trying to circle back around and just go straight in a line, because the longer he waits around, the worse. We'll kill off a ton of engineers and 2 more T2 Mechs. And Nasimka and all of Team 1 in general is just suffering in the mass department here. We'll look at totals and watch that total fall as that bomber is just ravaging Team 1 and will be shot down eventually. T3 land facility takes a hit and loses 2 more T2 Mechs. What is that? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Mechs taken out by that one bomber. Definitely paid for itself. And now Nasimka trying to deal with this push inbound here from Team 2's Tuesday. There's one in the north as well to deal with, but that attack, mostly not a huge issue. This one is the main issue. There's a lot of T2 blazes in the area. There is a lightning tank that can fire on the ground. Transport taken out, but there is also an Ophin. Once the Ophin comes in range, really wipes out those blazes very, very quickly. But Team 2 has done a considerable amount of damage to Team 1's eco, giving them some time to breathe. Again, T3 air facility, very, very important. You got to have that. Somebody's got to get it, and if you're not the one to get it, you better hope somebody else on your team gets it, or just do it yourself, one or the other. T2 mexes are going to be the main target. Doesn't look like any of those mexes were taken out by those blazes. We'll provide some eco mass here for Team 1, but essentially it was more of a just what can we get out of it sort of move versus an actual we have to throw everything at our opponent kind of move. We are seeing T2 Volthers on the cards here from Team 2's player of Potato PC. This is a Seraphim. Yeah, this is a Seraphim. For some reason I thought it was Aeon. Volthers are moving in, and of course there is a T3 AA lightning tank nearby. So definitely not move into range of that thing. And the Simca, if he's paying attention to his Ilshi, will be fired upon. Does look like it is noticed. And there is a lightning tank in this mix of T2 and T1 units, so definitely a good mixture of units there. Those lightning tanks are now intercepting those Volthers, and those Volthers are being ripped to shreds by those lightning. Very, very powerful unit. Do not want to sit under that AA coverage for any amount of time, let alone a long period of time. You are seeing a little bit of the battle lines being a little bit more stabilized. We see a couple of Selens, almost said sirens, but Selens on the northern side of that wall. That doesn't really do anything because you can go either way around it. But let's take a look at total ecos here so far. Team 1 at 255. They have been beat back a little bit by that bomber. And Team 2 now crosses the 300 mark here for mass generated per second. And Team 1 does have all 3 of their players left. Team 2 has 2 of their players left, with Bloodam being the first casualty of the day. Let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win. Again, no cheating. You can't just speed to the end of the video, then come back and then say something. You got to watch it all. You got to sit here and watch it. No cheating. And again, if you haven't done so already, please give that like button a smash. Share the video with your friends. And of course, if you haven't, and if you just did, I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much. Each and every subscription is precious to me, and it is one step closer to crossing over 1,000, which will date this video in the future when I do cross over 1,000, being like, oh, there was this video I watched from 3 years ago when he said he crossed 1,000. Or when he was trying to cross 1,000, I should say. I try not to date all of my videos like that, but, you know, sometimes stuff happens and comes out of my mouth that I don't expect. I don't script my videos in any way, shape, or form, so whatever comes out of my mouth, it will be whatever just comes out of my mouth at the time being. Tuesday is pushing off the forces that really shouldn't even have attacked here from Daphne. There was too many defenses, too many units. This is a production base. There's going to be units around this. We even see T3 units coming in to intercept those now. Huge army of units to the west here for Tuesday as well. I don't know why he just threw units up there and then just retreated half of them anyways. Wasn't really worth it. There wasn't a secondary attack. I mean, if he took out the radar and then some bombers came in, I can understand that, but I don't really get it. There's a different attack happening in the east from Daphne as well, but there are now Volthers inbound to deal with that threat. There's a couple of T1 Medusa, no AA in the mix as well. They're definitely a, if they're going after some mass extractors, it's not a huge issue, but they're not really super worth it. So it's kind of a, how much do you sacrifice for how much do you get kind of thing. And I feel like a couple of T1 units for a T2 or even T3 mechs, that's definitely worth it. But there is definitely a cost-benefit analysis. Huge army here for Nasimka, talking about buying Nasimka. Yes, there's a decent-sized army in the west. You need a chicken or something online to deal with that sort of army, at least in this stage of the game. Everyone, of course, has gone T3 land very, very early, or earlier than expected. We have now one T3 air facility online. I'm assuming a second one going to be upgraded to pretty soon. So both players, or at least the rear players on Team 1, going for T3 air. I don't see a second air facility for Team 2, which means all Team 1 would have to do is come in and assassinate that and call it a day with the air. There's not also, even given the fact that Team 2 does have T3 air, it's not really being focused on. I feel like most of the attention for at least Morning Potato PC is just ecoing. We are seeing a movement of an army southward here for Team 1's Godzilla Potato, and I can't keep the thought out of my head of either a Godzilla the size of a potato or the potato the size of a Godzilla. I just can't, like, whenever I see that name, that's all I'm going to think about. And hopefully at least one person watching this video, that's all they'll be able to think about is, gosh dang it, all I can think about now is he a Godzilla that's the size of a potato, or is he a potato the size of a Godzilla? And I must know. And hopefully he comments down in the comment section on this video and says, yes, I am this or this. Or just leaves it ambiguous and just makes my brain hurt, one or the other. The column of Nasimka moving westward are going to drop. He's going to drop on top of those Yoshis inbound. Of course, a couple of issues will not kill him off very quickly. He does have T2. It'd be really funny if he just sat there and reclaimed them. But overcharges one, kills that instantly. It looks like he's trying to go for some veterancy on that commander. Again, it's very, very easy to go for just a couple of kills and not throw your column on the front lines while you have an army both to the west and the east, and then more units going to be able to come in very quickly as well. Very risky in that regard, so I do like that play of just saying, I know there's units over there, just a couple of them. I'm going to drop on top of them, kill them, and then leave. He's going for gun speed and range, also to assist with dealing with that sort of move, and he'll get a nice, of course, bump in damage. He's building some Utashalas as well for defense, because there's been a lot of attacks on that northwest section. He has multiple wall sections being built, and multiple lines of them being built to mess with pathing. So again, that is a strategy to not just wall off an entire section like this, but kind of leave some space. You can see that, leaving some space to kind of do a, have you ever played those, not tactical based shooters, not turn based. Shoot, what are they? I used to know the name of them off the top of my head. The, turret. Oh, what are they called? Oh, it's going to bug me. I'm going to remember it later on in the cast and be like, that was the thing I was talking about. But essentially, you create a maze for units to walk through while you have automated or not automated units just like throwing plasma or weapons or whatever at them to kill them off before they get to your base. Tower defense. There it is. Tower defense style game. That's essentially what he's doing up there. And then probably build some Utashalas or T1 PD to assist with that. Actually, he's doing just that with just a line of T1 PD like that. So essentially doing that, yeah. That's essentially what he's doing. In the east, it's kind of been quiet. Same here with the west a little bit. It's been a little bit more of how much can we get away with. But there is a transport with a couple of Authams nearby. Does look like that spy plane. We'll barely see it. Isn't noticed by Team 2. It is, the spy plane's being shot, and I don't see any sort of ASF or interceptors moving in. There is a decent air force of ASFs nearby, and that is a nice horde of spy planes to get a nice readout on what's going on over there. But that transport will get in, leave, which is very surprising to see a transport drop and then be able to leave. And we have a couple of Authams going after some engineers and T2 Mechs and some defenses as well, which would allow, if it was close enough, some tactical missile launchers to be able to go after those Mechs as well. But the push down the middle coming out from Team 2's Tuesday, trying to get a nice little readout on defenses, but Blazes will deal with that amount of Harbingers very, very quickly. Harbingers in the east now going to be able to go after this T1 Mechs group. And those look like there was a, stealthy T2 tactical missile launcher, but that was killed off. And now Percy's going to try and intercept those Harbingers, and they're going to go, nope, and see you later. Not going to deal with that. Multiple armies, or at least groups of defenses being built, very similar to what's going on in the north for Team 2's Potato PC. So again, kind of a little bit of a slower game. It's a little bit more fast-paced early on. It's kind of lulled down a little bit. A lot of the action is kind of just calmed down. Tuesday builds the first experimental of the game. He is Aeon, so flip a coin. Most likely he's going to build a Colossus, and he has done so. He could have been handed some Seraphim Tech and build a chicken, but usually if it's about 30 minutes in, it's usually a Colossus. And that's why I said flip a coin. You literally only had two options. He wasn't going to build a Awasa or Tsar or anything like that. Neither team has air control to really make that a good investment. But it's very comparable. It does look like Godzilla Potato has really skyrocketed his air production and has rivaled that of Warning Potato. Again, the potatoes going at it in the air, flying potatoes. So they all have potato guns, essentially. Yeah, 32. I didn't even check what the other number was. 48. So definitely Team 1's Godzilla Potato has the advantage. What was that message? from Team 1? What are you guys doing? Probably that is probably from the Simca or even Potato. It's not talking about what Daphne is doing. But in the West, a couple of, again, Medusa just being shot out of the ground or shoved into the ground, one or the other coming out here from Team 2. And again, not really a lot of attacks. We do see a lonely little blaze here that's going to prevent a couple of engineers from scooping up stuff pretty soon. We do see a couple of blazes here to the north be able to cover this approach. It does look like this group of blazes is trying to prevent any sort of expansion back into that side of the map. And Team 1 and 2 have essentially just said the southwest sections for Team 2, the northeast sections for Team 1, and that is it. No sharing, no sort of takesy-backsies or anything. We did see a little bit of a different kind of front line earlier on, but decided against that, especially with the departure of Bladam earlier on. We are approaching the 30-minute stage in this game, so players should start to be thinking about how to end it, not necessarily how to survive in it. T3 air facility now online for Tuesday as well, so he'll get his toes wet in that air department. I would love to see the last player in the game go for T3 air coming out from Daphne, but he's probably more focused on land than anything else. T3 air is still not done, very surprisingly. The upgrade actually isn't even going. He's just going for E2 engineers. He's building a chicken as we speak and some more power to compensate for the construction of that chicken. But the wall section is almost done. There's a tiny little bit of walkway here in the north, so units can go that way. And of course, units can go this way. It does look like those... well, I thought he was building T1 PD, but I guess not. There is a nice old PD that's being built there. I heard a bomb go off. Where is it? Where is it? I heard it. I have T3AA2 says Tuesday. I don't know. Good. Keep going. Keep going, says Potato. Yes, keep going. You need that AA defenses. And I feel like, honestly, it's kind of slow. So I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Let's see if we can get some more kind of fluid action. There is now movement. Actually, I'll slow it back down because I didn't even notice this giant blue blob here in the south. Colossus leading the front line. We see no experimentals for Team 1. Of course, the chicken to the northwest is going to take a couple minutes to finish off. So and we'll then have to also walk. So this force outbound here from the combined forces of Team 2. Would love to see it combined under one player, but you know that is, you know, sometimes doesn't happen, sometimes it does. Depends on how people are feeling. You will be fine. I have shields, says warning. And yeah, I would love to see those shields gifted over to Tuesday, but again, tomato potato. Just some players like to gift out the units, some don't. Apologies for those hearing me sneeze. For some reason, I have really loud sneezes. Let me know if you also have loud sneezes. They are loud. Like, sometimes they hurt when I sneeze. They're that loud. But I do love this Brick and Percy move. And now, again, what I was talking about earlier about Team 2's land army should be exactly what's going on for Team 1's land army of Bricks and Percys, where they're handed over to one player to easily micro. We are seeing some ASFs kind of sit right behind the front line. It does look like he's trying to figure out if Team 2 has some Air Force, and now Team 2 will move their Air Force in, mirroring what Team 1 is doing, and we should see the fight commence here pretty soon. Bricks should be leading the way, and then Percy's following them. Allow the Bricks to, again, take that front damage. Percy's deal more damage per shot, technically. I don't know if they do more damage in general, but the Percys are designed to take, high single fire damage. They're designed to take out single targets. Bricks are more designed to take out multiple targets at a time, or at least, in the course of their lifetime. We are seeing those Percys should all be lining up. There are some Othams in here being wiped out pretty quickly, but we do see Ilshis, again, still being a striving force for Team 2. And we see some Scorchers inbound here from Potato trying to go after anything and everything back here. There is AA in the mix, and it does look like that Colossus maybe via at least one rank of agency. We'll get two here pretty soon. And the overwhelming force will push in and deal with this. And now Team 1 has a huge issue to deal with, is this Colossus with T2 and T3 support. Actually, that's a decent amount of Redeemers as well. It also looks like most of the units were either transferred over or just most of the units outbound from Tuesday have been killed off, one or the other. We see some Cougars kind of lining the edge of the battlefield, and we see that chicken moving eastward. And Team 2 will know about that, so the best time to attack would be now, good sir, on Tuesday to try to go after anything and everything. I do like this line of radar, kind of backups and whatnot, to be able to, like, oh, yeah, I lost vision over here, or that sort of thing. What's going on over here? And so he'll have a nice idea of what's going on. In the East, again, that's the main concern for both teams, is can this push really do a whole lot? But they have been able to take out a 5-star mechs position and a quad mechs position as well. So that's a lot of eco. Team 1 is losing per second. And more units funneling to the front line. I would love to see some engineers in this mix to be able to either reclaim or build. Of course, the Harbingers can do that. Most of those were killed off, but some of them do remain. They're going after the higher valued units first, as they should. The Perseus. There's a lot of eco in those units, a lot of mass. And now we see a Monkey Lord online is able to use its long-range cannon on those Harbingers. Looks like the Harbingers will get maybe 2 more Perseus out of the mix, and that will be it. Once the main cannon comes into range, those Harbingers are dead. And now the push in the West has commenced. Team 1 is vastly outnumbered both in the East and the West, and they need to decide what front they want to protect more. I feel like at this point, Team 1's Western player, Nasimka, he also has a chicken online, so that might help. But there's also a Colossus online as well, and a lot of support. Team 2 is going heavily in land, and the only really way to counter that is a lot of defenses, a lot of shields, or a lot of air units. Or just your own ground units. That also works too. But in this case, where Team 1 has the air advantage, at least in terms of facilities and the whatnot, that would definitely be the move that I would go. But we have, again, a secondary force of units pushing up the middle, with the main force to the west pushing in ever so closely. Of course, we see that chicken going to retreat into the main base and actually move southward. Don't know where that's going. Where are you going with that chicken? Maybe that was a misclick or something. But this position will fall very, very quickly. There is a couple of T3 mexes with some assisting mass FAF support. That's a lot of mass that he is going to lose here pretty soon. We see in the East that push has slowed down, and we see a chicken and a Monkey Lord now under the control of Godzilla Potato. With that combined amount of firepower, it should be enough to knock out that Colossus. It is 2 stars, and it's pretty close to a 3rd one. And again, units keep going back and forth, but there is a nice secondary army with a lot of shields back there. So again, Team 2 needs to decide if they want to attack or not, because the longer they wait, the longer they give Team 1 to defend. Mass Scorcher inbound here from Potato, going after the Colossus to try to deal some nice napalm or fire damage to that thing. Chicken gonna still retreat in the face of that army, though, waiting for his cousin to be built. It does look like he's gonna finish that off right before that army arrives. And now that that second chicken is online, and now those forces are moving in southward, it does look like the comm its best idea might actually just be to go after those units. There's a Redeemer on the front line. That's not going to go very well. He gets a nice reconvention off of that. Those chickens are lining up to defend. PD being built up as fast as they can. Utashala's, of course, a lot better than those tickle cannons of the Cybran, but the Colossus stays barely out of range of its laser, giving a huge advantage to these chickens. And unfortunately here for Team 2, that is a huge missed opportunity. And those chickens get massive amounts of value and damage out of that Colossus. The chicken is severely wounded in the south, though, but he should be perfectly fine. There's a Monkey Lord coming to assist as well from the eastern player, or eastern side of Daphne. That chicken is going to try to retreat and stay out of ion range of anything and everything in the base. Does end up getting killed off, and now the Harbingers should be going after those vital structures of the P-Gens. They look like they target the P-Gen, kill some of their own friendlies in the exchange, and do kill a second P-Gen as well. The chicken stomping on top of those units, and unfortunately here this push in the northwest will be essentially petered out very, very quickly. And in the southeast, it does look like that Colossus has fallen back, and everything is now finally gifted over to one player, this being Potato. Potato taking control of the eastern front, and Tuesday taking control of the western front. I'm going to say Tuesday instead of Tuesday at some point. I know I'm going to say it. I kind of said it in the beginning, but I know I'm going to say it out of hand. Just know I am. Team 1 does have multiple SMD online. Do they expect a nuke to be launched or being built at the current moment? SMD online for Team 2. I see Quantum Gateway. Although I love how it's named a portal as a Quantum Gateway. Well, thank you. No, really. Give me another more obvious name than portal for a Quantum Gateway. Gateway being the key word. It's just kind of very lazy naming. But again, I'm not really good with names either in naming stuff, so I would name it something like that maybe too. Air grids not really being super plump like we see in other games, just kind of small air grids for both players. They do have their own air forces commanded under their, their own APM. Would like to see the bulk of the air force commanded by one player, and then maybe just a smaller secondary force. But a missile launcher inbound here from the north from this Yathis missile launcher going after T2 mechs as these engineers kind of like, what? That mechs got killed off and I was not dead. That's right, in a line of T2, I'm assuming volcanoes are going to be... Actually, no, those are Oblivions, not volcanoes. And there are no volcanoes online in the west. And so that missile launcher has a nice avenue of attack. Actually able to take out all of those T2 mechs in the west. Definitely is some oversight here for Team 2. You need those TMD to be able to protect those mass investments. Because all Team 1 has to do is build a couple missiles and call it good. This one probably going to build up 4 or 5 and then launch them one after the other. Prevent any mass spamming of volcanoes or T2 TMD. In this case, it being TMD. I don't remember what the Seraphim one is called. Of course, the Seraphim structures units are always the hardest to pronounce and remember. So apologies if I don't remember all of the names off the top of my head. We are seeing a FAF board constructed here for Godzilla. So we'll see 3 of the 4 land experimentals here in the game here for team. Actually, never mind, scratch it. We will see all 4 for Team 1 now that a crab is under construction. I don't see any sort of nukes. Another chicken being built. Mass fab and mass T3 land facility production is being produced here by Team 1's Nasimka. Wants to pump out a lot of T3 either lightning tanks or Ilshis or Othams. One of those 3 units. Usually those are the 3 that I see the most of. Or those T3 mobile shields. So 4 units. 4 units usually that I see. I think he's going to go with a mix of Othams, lightning tanks. He has no shields. Very interestingly, he is a Seraphim player and he isn't going for shields. It's like saying you're playing UEF and you're not going for Ravagers. It's like, what are you doing? That's what they're known for. What are you doing? You're supposed to be doing that. Or a Cyberncom not building Salems or a Telemazer. That kind of thing. Or an Aeoncom not sacrificing his RASCOMs or his other, SACUs to build a GC very, very quickly. It's kind of the signature thing that one faction is known for. You're not doing it. Definitely a thing you should fix. We do see that combined push of a Monkey Lord assisting Seraphim units outbound here from Team 1's Nasimka, pushing on the west. And in the east, we should see that move come out here from Team 2, but it is not going anywhere. Again, like I said earlier on, the longer that doesn't happen, the worse this position gets. He could go west, but I don't think that's the best idea either. Again, either way, it puts him in a very compromising position if they don't go straight north or they don't go straight northwest. Or they could just go straight north and be done with it and go around this mountain section. But T1 air spam in the form of those lightning tank Sinvays, depending on language, it might be pronounced, the V might be pronounced with a B. In Spanish, V's are pronounced with B's. It's very interestingly. But Chicken plus Monkey Lord says Potato PC using the actual name of the chicken, not the chicken name, the nickname of the chicken. The Yathotha. That's how I usually say it. I kind of say it with a lisp, is it's like Yathotha, almost is how I say it. But the crab is almost done. The Fat Boy is almost done. And with 4 experimentals in the east, that might be a push that Team 1 might actually do against 1 Colossus. Definitely a disadvantage here for Team 2. There's that crab, especially with the advanced range on that crab. Going to give a huge advantage to Team 1. SMD, again, not air grid, land grid being plumped out. Air grid isn't looking too bad here for Team 1. Very surprised to not see the T3 air facility. Oh, it looks like it was either reclaimed or killed, or I think it was killed. And maybe he's going to go for artillery, which would be very interesting. Oh, build like a YOLO in the middle of that. That'd be very funny. He's not going to, but it'd be really funny if he did. Those look like Team 1 is gearing, Team 2 is gearing up for an attack down the middle, at least putting units over here. Don't know. You can't go straight down the middle, though. You have to either go kind of in this slimmer path or go around this more thicker path in the west. And now we see that attack now kind of materializing that we saw earlier on from Nasimka. The units moving into intercept this quad mix position that Nasimka originally held. Actually, this is the position he originally held up here. This is a further back position. When I go in this mode, I don't see the mass icons. But massive amounts of T2 PD trying to be built to hold off this push, and it will do a decent amount in holding that push off. Unfortunately, it also looks like Team 2 has a lot of air as well, and they have a an Awasa on the line here for Potato PC. And that bomber is inbound, does get pinged by Team 1, and will immediately retreat. Team 1 knows about it. ASF's flying over the top, going to intercept those ASFs. They're going to fly over some AA, but they're going to go straight after those air forces. Team 2 has definitely the advantage here, probably almost a 2-to-1. We can check, but it's not going to be the exact number. 104 for Team 2 and 87, sorry, not 80, but 80 or so. They are flying over AA coverage, and they are landing in Team 1's base, and all of those ASFs for Team 1 are essentially gone. That was a huge move here by Team 2, and it does look like they're just going to lock the air here, and here comes that bomber. I'm going to slow it down just for a little bit to get some nice little wrong button. Nice little screenshots of it. It is inbound. Clear the skies. We have a bomber inbound. Is essentially what Team 2's orders were given. There goes that bomb. It is inbound. There is some shield coverage around that air grid, but there is not a lot more shields being spammed. The best we see, there is a Duke under construction. Will land on, oh, it's landing right next to a P-Gen. That's gotta hurt. Oh, we're gonna watch this in a little bit of slow-mo. Kaboom! Takes out, actually I think it took out some it did take out some ASFs. Actually took a chunk of them out, and a chunk of that air grid as well went up. That's gotta hurt. And that bomber is still online and still in the green, surprisingly. There's a couple of T1 AA guns chewing its hit points out, but not a whole lot. We'll go in for a second run, but that Duke is not going to finish, and that column of Godzilla Potato is going to feel the wrath of that Awasa bomber. Here it comes. It is inbound, takes out the Duke, and the comm suffers actually almost half of his hit points in that explosion. A lot of AA, and I think there's some flak in there. No, that was a T1. Is dropping into the red. Ooh, sub 10,000 hit points. ASF come in to protect it, but it will get out of dodge, fortunately, here for Team 2. But a lot of the ASFs for Team 1 have been killed off. Of course, some of those being killed off by their own bomb from that Awasa bomber. But, you know, it happens. Friendly fire happens. No one's in those planes, so it's fine. They're just unmanned drones, essentially. Everybody except in the comms and in the SACUs are drones, essentially, for all intents and purposes. So it's not like the anime 86 where they're using actual humans for their quote-unquote unmanned defenses. Very good anime. Cannot recommend it more. It's really good. Really compelling. It tugs on your heartstrings a little bit. If you haven't seen it, please go and see it. Is it 2 seasons long? It's like 20. Wait, how long is it? Is it 30 episodes? No, it's like 26 or something. 26 or 20. It was 25. Anyway, it's not super long, and it's also not super short. Like one, it is definitely 2 seasons. That I do know. So it's usually 25, 26 episodes, depending on how many they put in each season. But so good, so good. We see in the north more AA now being built all around and kind of sporadically placed so that they have a lot of coverage. We see AA units actually being moved into the front line as well, mixing in static with mobile AA. And we see that Monkey Lord actually being tripped up by that chicken, being like, hey, get out of my way. I have a shorter range than you do. I need to move up. And those defenses being ripped to shreds so far. It does look like that chicken wants to stay out of the range of the massive array of guns to the west. But the Awasa bomber is inbound, and it kills off most of this attacking force's momentum. Will force the experimentals back, and T1 bombers will definitely assist with that. We have some more lightning tanks and another chicken to the west, though, and some flak will again force back that Awasa, but one Colossus grabbing one of those off them is definitely going to force that chicken to rethink its life choices here. And it does. Oh, the chickens are still, and the chicken and the Monkey Lord still hanging out. The push in the east is starting to materialize. We can see that crab being used to force back the units inbound here from Team 2. And they need to get out of dodge sooner rather than later. They could just swarm that crab but they're very wary of the forces behind them. They can easily intercept those very quickly. The Awasa bomber could go after the crab, but there is AA behind it. So again, it's the whole do they go after it or do they wait kind of thing. The chicken and the Monkey Lord now alone. Monkey Lord going to start ripping through those Harbingers, and it does look like the Harbinger's going to focus the crab first. Take that out first, that crab. That chicken should have been moved a little bit farther forward to assist with dealing with a lot of that firepower. But now that the Harbinger is dead, those attack orders? They were attack orders, and that Monkey Lord will be killed off either by the Harbinger or by the Ion Storm. There is a second chicken inbound now for Team 1, so it's not a huge loss. It does look like some Rascoms are going up in smoke, though, by that chicken. And the chicken kills off the Colossus in a very interesting turn of events. I felt like that chicken would have died, but it did not, and I thought I saw it. No, it was on Strap Bombers. It was just Team 1 spam. The AA on the chicken isn't great, but it's enough to take out a couple of the bombers, so better than nothing. You can see those bombers are just ripping through those hit points pretty, I would say super quickly. A couple of Utashanas to the west. That chicken will be killed off, but a lot of stuff will be killed off as well. ASF's, again, trying to protect that Awasa. The crab being like, nah, I'm fine, is actually going to plop down some eggs. You don't really see this move a lot. And actually building some units out of that little egg that it's constructing. I actually don't really see the egg that much. So it's actually kind of nice to see that move actually being used. It is technically a mobile okay, a mobile factory is really, it's not a FAF 1 mobile factory, but takes out all the units back here for that Awasa. There's really no AA supporting this crab. And I think all those units were killed off as well. There is a tiny, oh nope, that thing is killed off too. Awasa bomber just going to rip through the health of that megalith. There's really no more units left online. There's no ASFs as well. Team 1 needs to either pull back the crab or just say, hey, you need to get out of there. Awasa now at 77,000 mass killed. I saw the crab use its ability. I don't know if that's the first time I've seen it, but it's definitely one of the first times I can remember in a while that I've actually seen it executed. Not only did you have that weird kind of like glitchy effect that happens from one of the campaign missions where he uses the Brackman uses the megalith to like break up the QAI structure. It's like essentially glitching it out and kill it off. But a lot of flak. It's going to chew out those hit points as well. It'll force the bomber back once again. ASFs will come in to support it just in case there's any sort of experimentals. But that chicken got super far. Went from all the way over here where I thought it was dead all the way down here. A lot of T2 and T3 mechs is killed off. That is a lot of mass. Deficit. Team 1 at double the eco of Team 2. And that is definitely going to reside in some huge advantage, of course. Because, you know, when you have double the eco, you can really play with a lot of things. A second Awasa is online as well. So if Team 1 wanted to use it, now would be the time. Team 1 has a Duke online. Hasn't even been given order to fire. Oh, there it goes. Now it's been given order to fire. Second one is being constructed as we speak. I don't see any sort of... Oh, I see another crab. I see another disruptor back there. I don't see any sort of game enders. There might be a gentleman's agreement or something. I don't see a Paragon. I don't see a YOLO. I don't see a Mavor or any sort of that thing. But two Awasas are online. It sounded like I had like a Brooklyn accent there for a second. This one, no Ventrucy. This one, of course, at 3 stars. Needs like 20 more thousand for 4-star. Again, it's kind of slowed down a little bit. 51 minutes in this game, and the game is slowed down, especially with 2 Awasas. There's a, you know, of course, an artillery launching as we speak. SMD border says Daphne, and yeah, talking about the SMD over here, which begs the question: do they have a nuke? Which I feel like I would have seen it at this point if they have, unless someone's just like hit a YOLO somewhere, which would not surprise. Oh, there it is. There's the nuke, and it is loaded. And it is going to fire, and it is going to fire on top of that comm. The comm at, I think that's advanced region and advanced ARAS, ARAS advanced RAS, and I think that's advanced nano as well. So very beefy comm. trying to regen the hit points on that Awasa bomber. 340 hit points a second is a ton. And those forces are retreating, thinking that the nuke is going for them. But it is not. We have some Duke landing in over there. We have the Awasa bomber actually going to move. And that nuke is inbound straight for the comm. The comm is not going to feel good here pretty soon if he doesn't start moving. But it does get shot down by that SMD to the east, so there's really nothing to worry about here for Team 2. But it's a good scare. You don't want your nuke to just sit there, but all the units are retreating. Another experimental is online. Did you build? No, it's a crab. It's not a megalith. Sorry, it's not a crab. It's a megalith. It's the same thing. Not a scathis. But still, no sort of huge game ender, no sort of anything like that. But we'll see how this goes. We see those two bombers kind of running around. The spy plane will get a nice little read on what's going on. But again, they've given Team 1 enough time to build, and now 2 artillery are online. That's definitely going to be target number 1, or numero uno, or, you know, the HVT high value target, or HVP high valued person. We have a couple of chickens going to feel the wrath of some bombers, though, in the west. Oh, lands essentially one on top of the other one. Oh, that's a lot of hit points gone. That is a lot of hit points gone, but still nothing really too devastating. A couple of artillery going to take out the T3 air headquarters. Going to limit the ability for, of course, Team 2 to pump out air forces. But with only 2 artillery online, it should be pretty easy to deal with that artillery. But a third one is coming online here shortly, and a fourth one as well. More likely that's going to be the third one. The Awasa bombers do just annihilate the hit points on that megalith. And it does look like that megalith's going to feel some more pain once again. Actually, some Rascoms. Actually, those are Rambo, not Rascoms. They're going to feel the pain as well. That one, also dies off as well. Oh, it's going to hurt. These are essentially maybe the only thing keeping Team 2 in this game. But it does look like the artillery going after the SMD, and they kill it off. Team 2 no longer has SMD coverage in the east. And is there another nuke online? It does look like that megalith was eventually killed off. The Awasa bomber taking lots of hits from AA. Actually, not as much as I thought he was, but is taking hits. Does look like air facility being upgraded to T3 and going for ASF production. Nuke isn't even loaded. I don't even know what's going on with this game. What is going on here? I'm going to speed that back up, not to 3, to 2. Artillery now landing on all of the SMD, I think. That's the main target. Take out all the SMD. They can't cover from the nukes. Once they have that taken out, I feel like that's it. But with 3 Dukes, Team 2 needs to make a move. Awasa bombers are in the west, still going after those chickens. Trying to deal with the hit points on those experimentals. But there's now 4 of them in the west. It does look like this 2 dual Colossus push might not get a whole lot of work done. We have air scouts in over the top to get a nice readout on their opponent. But the air grid being severely destroyed. The bombers are moving in. One of them dies off to the AA pressure. The second one is in the yellow and dropping very quickly to all those lightning tanks, and it is killed off. There it goes. Tried to do a nice hover bomb. Will land on top of those chickens and take out some of those defenses as well. But now we have 4 chickens versus 2 Colossus and 1 chicken. I feel like I'm going to give the amount of oomph, the amount of effort to Team 1. Potato says, forget you did not deserve the win, says Potato. What's he talking about? GG, we can leave. Stupid T3 artillery. They are sniping SMD. I mean, it's a tool in your disposal. You could have built that, artillery and whatnot, but Potato decided not to. Accept the recall, says Potato to his ally of Tuesday. 1 Colossus is down. I feel like Tuesday is waiting for his second Colossus to die. And Team 2 recalls the game. You can see the artillery wrecking the base for Potato. Potato just feeling it, and I like how the Godzilla Potato does get the notification, and that he won the game. Only 1 species can attain perfection. Okay, no. I mean, I get you can be a little salty about the fact that your opponent used artillery, but every faction has T3 artillery, so every faction has the capability to use it. He did prevent at least the construction of the first one earlier on. This was like the shields are having some. Godzilla's having some power. Yeah, he's having some power issues. But he could have easily just said, oh, they're doing it, I should be doing that too, and then do that. Team 2 was being very timid with attacking. They attacked that one time in the east, and that was it. I mean, it was kind of, there and back again a little bit. There's a Lord of the Rings reference. It's not really a whole lot. In the west, at least we had Tuesday trying to attack. The attack did do a little bit for, again, a tiny bit of damage, but the majority of the forces were moving westward, and that's where the majority of the defenses were. And I feel like that was definitely a missed opportunity here. They should have gone northward. They should have gone over here, avoided the space to the east, gone straight up the middle, tried to maybe go after Daphne, but they didn't go for it. I get that the map wasn't super conductive for like a straight-on head-on push, but you got to adapt to the Neuroxys, not Necroxys, but Neuroxys map generator. So let me know down in the comments who you think deserves MVP or /MUP. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the comment section below about whether or not your prediction was right or wrong, and let's get onto the awards here for this game. And I feel like in terms of MVP, MUP, I feel like Godzilla did a decent job of holding off the push in the east. He built a nice base. He had, he was doing, the other team has T3 air. I should build air. And so that's essentially what kept Team 1 in this game in terms of, dealing with Team 2's air, is he was the only player that went air, and that gave him the ability to just be like, oh, let me just kill off ASFs. Let me try to go after the bomber. Let me try to do all this stuff. And then he went, oh, now I have all this power. I might as well just go for artillery. And so he just built artillery, and then he won. There was, of course, another artillery being built by another teammate, and I do love the fact that it's not here. It could have been a little bit further to the east or northeast a little bit, but it's far away from everything else. So if the enemy built their own artillery or nuke or whatever, it would have taken this out and not everything in this base as well. So I do love, again, segmenting out your base, being like, I know they're going to go after this. It's better for them to just target this over here, and I can be fine in my little bubble. So I think Godzilla Potato gets the MVP/MUP. I don't know how to judge ratings that much. I feel like maybe he deserves pro rating of 1500. Maybe he deserves 16. I don't know. So I'm going to go MVP/MUP. Let me know down in the comments what you think about that. And of course, if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button, and I will see all of you in the next one.